fast and furry forest fest with you as beaver architects grabbing the drifting buildings on the river to construct in Timbertown.
And today we'll be teaching you how to play Timbertown, game designed by Ryan Boucher and published by Alley Cat Games and Seabrook Studios. And do check out the link to the game's page in the video description below.
And hi everyone, it's Stella.
And Tarrant, welcome to Meeple University.
And hey, if you enjoyed this video after watching, subscribe and comment, you know what to do. Alright, now let's get to the classroom.
In Timbertown, players are rival beaver architects on opposite sides of the river, each trying to build the highest scoring town. Round by round, players will claim the best buildings from the river, assembling them in their grids before they drift away forever and are replaced by new ones from upstream. With 7 different types of building, each scoring in a different way, whoever can assemble the best town by these scoring objectives will be the winner. To set up, each player takes a player board and sits opposite each other so that the column numbers line up. Take the single coloured raft piece which matches your player colour. And be clear, this is the one only in your colour, not the one which shows both colours and some brown. Randomly place a river tile in the first column and lay the rest out alternating between the 2 player colours. Shuffle and make 3 stacks of building tiles and flip the top tile from each stack onto the first river tile. Find the scoring cards, choose one in each of the 7 colours and place them face up in the area between the players. For the brown beavers and the red construction yards, there's only 1 card. For all the others, either choose the one with this icon for your first game or choose a card randomly. Points in Timbertown will come from how well you meet these 7 objectives with the building tiles you place in your town. Nearby, make common supplies of the construction tokens, rafts, dams and cranes, as well as the 3 beavers and the 5-point builder beaver. You're now ready to play. Timbertown is played in rounds, and in each round, each player will take 1 turn, starting from whichever player is showing on the first river space. On your turn, you'll have the chance to claim a single building tile from the river to build into your town either immediately or on a later turn. In the first round, there'll only be 3 buildings to choose from, while in later rounds there will be a mix of filled and empty spaces. At the end of each round, after both players have claimed 1 tile, you'll set up for the next round by discarding any tiles which were on the final river tile, moving that tile to the front of the queue, and flipping a new building onto each empty space of that tile. So now let's zoom in on a single player's player board and learn how to claim and build tiles. On your turn, you may claim a single building tile from the river, a tile which you alone may build in your town. There are 2 ways to do this, and the first is to take it and build it immediately. If you do this, choose any face-up tile and note which column of the river it came from. Now build it in an empty space in the same numbered column of your town board. You can choose any space but only within that column, and you can rotate to any orientation. But any tile with boardwalks at the edge must join up to either the edge of your town board or other boardwalks. As such, I could place this tile here or here, but not here, since this boardwalk does not join up. And likewise, this placement would be acceptable, but this one would not. Then, if the tile you placed was a construction yard, showing the red saw and with an icon in its top right corner, gain the construction token corresponding to that icon. So a dam, or a crane, or a raft which you would flip to your coloured side. If the tile shows a beaver, then place one of the beaver meeples onto that tile. Once you have these construction tokens, you can use them as a free action on your turn to give you building flexibility, including on the same turn after you've gained them. Firstly, any one of these 3 construction token types can be scuttled to create a boardwalk connection where one doesn't exist. Usually that means that as you're placing a tile, you can scuttle one of these, placing it over a gap to make it validly connect. You could also choose to scuttle across a legal tile placement like so, specifically to create a path, since some scoring cards look for paths. Each construction token also has a unique purpose. With the crane, when building a tile from the river, you can spend the crane to build it in any column rather than just the column you took it from. The dam lets you claim a second tile on the same turn. So here my turn could be to build this tile off the board and then spend the dam to build another. The last type of construction token is the raft, and this brings us to the second way that you can claim a tile on your turn, and that is to place a raft. You begin the game with a permanent raft solely in your colour, and you can collect rafts from construction yards as well. On your turn, instead of picking up a tile from the river and placing it in your town, you can place one of your raft tokens onto a tile. When a building has your raft, your opponent cannot take that tile nor place their own raft on it. That building is now yours to build, and you can build it as a free action into its current column on any future turn. And this is in addition to the tile that you build or otherwise claim on that turn. So, for example, I've claimed this with my raft while it's in column 3. But I've built nothing on this turn. Next round, that raft and tile will have moved 1 step along the river. And as my turn with the board laid out like this, I could now, for example, build this tile into column 2 and build this tile into column 4. When you build a tile with your permanent raft, it returns to your supply. If you build a tile which you marked with a construction yard raft, then discard it from the game. You'll mostly be using rafts to claim tiles when they're upstream on the river, and then later build them when they're further downstream. But you could also use your raft to block a tile so your opponent can't take it. You can't voluntarily move or take back a raft unless you build the tile under it. But if the tile falls off the end of the board, then discard the building and retrieve your raft if it was your specific raft, or discard the raft permanently if it was from a construction yard. So to summarise the turn sequence again, each player takes 1 turn per round, starting with whosever icon is in the first space of the river. On your turn, you either claim and build a tile immediately, or stake claim to one for a future turn using a raft. You may also choose to pass, not claiming any tile if there's none you want or none you can legally claim. You can also take the free actions of taking a tile from under a raft, or using a crane or a dam, or scuttling a construction for its bonus. You can refer to your player aid card for this turn sequence, the effects of the construction tokens, and the distribution of building tiles in the game, including how the boardwalks are laid out on them. Continue playing rounds in this way. Once the draw decks of tiles are empty, you'll still continue. The game can go on for as long as there are still tiles in the river. One way to score points is to be the first player to completely fill your town board. If you do this, you take the 5-point Builder Beaver token and you pass the rest of your turns. The other player keeps taking turns alone, either until their board is also full or until the river no longer has any tiles in it for them to take. Now players count up their final scores based on the 7 different card scoring types. Red construction yards always score 2 points per tile, plus 1 point for each unspent construction token. – This here would be 2 points plus 1 for 3 points. The brown beaver town squares score 5 points if the beaver on it can walk via boardwalk paths so that it moves off the left of your board and off the right of your board. So, this beaver scores 5 points. It can walk off here and walk off here, as does this one, which walks off here and off here. And these paths can follow scuttled construction tokens. However, this beaver has no path off the left-hand side of the board, so scores nothing. For all the others, follow the scoring objectives on the cards. There's a variety of types, with some scoring based on where they're placed in your grid, making clusters of the same colour, having one type of tile in proximity to other different tiles, and so on. Finally, the player with the builder beaver gains 5 points. The player with the higher score wins. If tied, the builder beaver breaks the tie, and if neither player claimed it, the victory is shared.
Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, maybe you'd like to watch this next one. Have a great day. Bye!